Hey guys, it's Jackie. Today I am going to be making my college decisions video. I'm making a my college decisions video because I don't want to do a college decisions reactions. I think it's really toxic. I don't really like the idea of, applying to just a ton of different ivies and not really choosing one that's the right fit for you, but instead just doing what everyone else is doing. And people tend to be really competitive and tend to compare each other a lot, which I really don't like, which is why I'm just doing a my college decision. So I'm bringing it back to me, which is like the most important part of this whole thing. Like, it's my decision. It's exciting. I made notes for this. I'm gonna do a stats vid later, but my basic GPA is 3.93. If it was weighted, I think I would get like more than a 4, but my school doesn't do weighted, so I don't really know. And my SAT was a 1540. I also wanted to bring up that I did have a college counselor, and I also did have SAT tutors that did help me throughout the process. So if it's something that you can afford, I do highly suggest that you check it out because they can be really helpful. So the first school that I applied to was UMass Amherst, and I applied EA. And the acceptance rate for UMass Amherst is 59%, but it goes up to 71% if you apply in admissions. It's just the typical safety at my school. Like, I feel like everyone applies there, and something interesting about UMass Amherst is that it offers triple majors. So you can, do a bunch of different things and apply directly to the major. So I applied to the anthropology because I plan on majoring in anthropology and Chinese language. So that's what I applied to. Also, if you apply to UMass Amherst, you are automatically considered for honors college, so you don't have any additional essays, which is really nice. Okay, next up is Purdue University in Indiana. I think it's in West Lafayette, which is close to Lafayette, which is like a big city, so you do get like an urban vibe without it being too urban. And I applied EA, and the admissions there is 55% regular. I don't know what the admissions rate is for EA. It has a pretty cool campus. I did visit the campus. It was very pretty. And something they do really well is actually agricultural sciences, probably because they're in the Midwest, and that's kind of like what the Midwest is about. Next one I applied to, we're getting into my match schools now. Before those were my safeties. I applied to Rochester, and I applied RD, and regular admissions acceptance rate is 29%, but it goes up to 41% if you apply ED, which I didn't. So, if that's something you want to look into, then go ahead. I also applied specifically to the grade program, which is, I think, an education-oriented program where it's 5 years. So you spend 4 years in undergraduate, and you only have to spend 1 year for a master's in education, which is really nice. And that's kind of something I was looking into when I was going through the process. It did have a lot of extra essays though, so that was kind of a pain. Something interesting about Rochester is that their curriculum is more flexible, as I like to call it. They say they have like an interesting, like a different curriculum. I personally don't see how it's any different from other schools. It's just there's less prerequisites and like requirements and stuff that you have to fulfill. And also, it's super cold. It's in Rochester, which is a city in upstate New York, so it's super cold, and they have underground tunnels actually when it's like in winter, so you can go through the underground tunnels instead of being outside and freezing your ass off. And the next one I applied to is Enrichment. I did apply EA to this one. The acceptance rate goes from 27% to 48% if you apply ED, I think. But it does offer an EA option, so I went for EA instead. It has a beautiful campus. I think their campus is ranked like the number one most beautiful campus in America. So it was really pretty. I also really liked Virginia because I felt like it was a lot like Massachusetts, which is where I live. It has a very like colonial vibe, which is, something I'm used to and something that I grew up around. So I just felt super at home in Richmond and in Virginia. Okay, next is Northeastern. So that is right here in Boston. So I did get to visit it a ton just because I live here. I applied EA, so it goes up from 19% to 41% if you apply ED. Some benefits to it were that it was close to home, has a great campus. I really like the area of Boston it's in. And something else is when I like the vibe that I got on like the tours were that it's a lot more vocational than your typical college. It's a private university, but they did focus more on job placement. They were really more preparing their students for work rather than other maybe more liberal colleges, where they prepare their students to go to grad school. So that was something interesting. If you're looking to go to work right after graduating, then Northeastern might be a great option for you. And I also heard that they give national merit aid. So if you are a national semifinalist, then they could give you a lot of aid. That's also something to look into. Next, we're going into my reach schools. I applied to 6 reach schools, I think. The first one I applied to, well, not really the first one, but I just put it first, is Washington University in St. Louis, or WashU. And I applied RD, even though they have an EA option. They have ED1 and ED2. I don't know, I'm not sure if they have EA, but it goes up from 13% to 42%, their acceptance rate, if you apply ED1, I think. And I actually applied to this one a lot later than my other colleges. For my other colleges on my list, I applied before the November 1st deadline for ED because I just wanted to get it all out of the way. But for WashU, I was kind of just sitting around in my home, so my parents were like, you should do something, and they kind of just made me apply. They have family friends whose children go there, so they were like, oh, this is a good school. But I mean, they did give me a fee waiver. I kind of just copy and pasted some of my other essays, so I didn't do any actual work for it. Next one on my list is Tufts. I RD'd there, and it goes up from 11% to 42% if you apply ED. They did offer an ED2 choice this year, and a lot of people from my school do usually go to Tufts. It actually live super close. And a funny story I have about Tufts is when I was going to their online info session, which we're all online because of COVID, the info session person kept calling me out for living super close to Medford, which is where Tufts is. So that was kind of awkward. Yeah. But the benefit about Tufts is that it's super close to home. My parents did say that they wanted me to apply because it's like super close and I could live at home and stuff. And I honestly wouldn't have applied, I feel like, but I did get a fee waiver. So, I also got a fee waiver to Enrichment, which was really nice. I got 3 fee waivers in total, which does save a lot of money. And my next college is Barnard, which is a sister college to Columbia College, which is all part of the bigger Columbia University. And I applied RD. The acceptance rate goes up from 6% to 25% if you apply ED. But I didn't apply ED. I honestly thought that I would probably transfer to Columbia if I got in. So, and the next one I applied to on my list is Duke University, and I applied RD. And the acceptance rate goes up from 7% to 22% if you apply ED. It's in North Carolina. So it is the most southern school that I applied to. And I did really like it on paper. It has like great humanities, great liberal arts education. But I feel like in person, I just didn't really like the campus vibe. It's really gothic, almost very church-like, like Catholic churchy. Some people really like it. I don't know. The next one on my list is Northwestern University, and I applied RD also. The acceptance rate goes up from 6% to 27% if you apply ED. Most reach schools don't give you an EA option, so you can't really do anything about it. And I actually also considered UChicago when I was looking into it because they're both in like the Chicago area. But then I went to visit. UChicago was just not it for me. I think it's in the inner city in Chicago, so it's not like, how do I put it? It's not like the best campus. I do know people who are going there. I do know people who loved it there, but it just wasn't like for me. But Northwestern is totally different. It's in the suburbs, and it actually has like a really cool campus, which I really loved. And yeah, I would have been super happy going there. Actually, when we went to visit, we parked right in front of the anthropology department at Northwestern, so I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. The last one on my list is Cornell University, which I applied ED. It goes up from 11% to 26% if you apply ED, which does make it a lot easier. So if you are considering applying to top colleges, you do want to consider applying ED if it's a college that you really love and you're a lot safer that way. And yeah, I got in. I was super shocked because comparatively there were a lot of people who had like better grades and stuff than me in my school. I guess I just got really lucky. Honestly, I really do think it was probably my personal essay, but because my grades and my GPA were pretty average and my extracurriculars weren't all that great either. So I am really like thankful and happy that I got in because I don't have to worry about it, and it has made life a lot easier to know that I don't have to worry about college or grades or anything. And some other things. Oh yeah. It has a beautiful campus. It's absolutely gorgeous. I went to visit. I was like, this feels like the right place. Another reason why I applied ED is the reason why I applied ED is because of the CAPS program, CAPS, which stands for Chinese and Asia Pacific Studies. It's a China-specific international relations program, which is exactly what I was looking for. I was really, really excited to get in. I actually already talked to my department head, and oh my god, he's so sweet, and you can tell he was really excited to have a new student, and he really loves his students, and you can tell he really loves his job. So we're excited to be part of Cornell University. And the major, I'm double majoring in anthropology and CAPS, and the great thing about my major specifically is that they're really small. They're both super small. I think CAPS has like at most 10 people per grade. So you really do get like that one-on-one closeness and like interaction with your professors, with it still being like a super huge school and so still having lots of opportunities. That was great. I applied directly to arts and sciences. Cornell has 8 schools, I think, and arts and sciences is the one that both of my majors are in, so I applied there. And yeah, it worked out super well because I honestly like didn't want to let myself get attached before I got in because I was worried if I let myself get attached, I would be super disappointed if I didn't get in. But I got in, so it doesn't matter anymore. And oh yeah, I withdrew my other apps because you have to do that if you apply ED. If you get in, you might get into some legal trouble. So yeah, I did that before Christmas, and those are the colleges I applied to. Yeah, I'm going to Cornell. Stay tuned if you want Cornell related videos, I guess. Honestly, this whole COVID thing just wrecked every single one of my plans. Like, college apps during COVID was just awful, and my grade really got the short end of the stick, but can't really do anything about it. So but yeah, also stay tuned if you want to see my stats video. I'll be telling everything, and let me know in the comments if there's anything specific you want to see. I'll just probably go over my general stats if you don't have anything like super specific requested. Yeah, bye.